And we're live. Hi, everyone. Look who's here. It's Kim from
Hello.
Intuitiview. How you
Hello.
doing, Kim?
Hi, Lori. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good. You just got back from visiting your mom, and can you tell
Mhm.
everybody how she's doing? Just
She's
doing
doing good. She got diagnosed with Parkinson's about not even a year ago, and so my sisters and I all helped take care of her. We put in our little bit of time here. I have 4 sisters, so we all kind of pitch in and help, and she's doing good. She's hanging in there. So far so
good.
good. She's going to be 90, so she's um, had a
That's
great, yeah, she's had
that's
a
good.
great
And
life.
sounds
So
like
she's doing good.
looks like she has a great support system.
She does. She
So,
definitely does.
in case anyone has been living under a rock and they don't know who you are, could you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your channel, what you do, and how you read? I think is the most important thing because you're mostly
Right.
a channel.
Well, I'm Kim from Intuitiview, and basically, the way that I read is I I hear well. It started differently for me. It did start with a lot of used to see a lot of movies and television shows because I have a huge catalog in my head, and my guides found it really easy to just pick and choose from that for the longest time. And that's how I would read most of the time because it would give me context, because I knew the television show or I knew the episode or whatever, so it would give me context right away. And so it just grew out from there. So then I started to get messages with my clairaudience, my hearing, and with more clairvoyance, a different kind of clairvoyance that I would get. I started to kind of build my dictionary basically, and I don't use cards. I do with people that I don't feel like I can be totally unbiased with, like my daughter. I have a daughter and a husband. I'll use cards with them because I know that I can be biased with them, but I'm pretty good at knowing that neutral spot now that I can read from for people. So I don't use cards, and I just kind of I have a lot. I'm an empath, so I have tons of like feelings stuff, and um, I get lots and lots of feelings, lots of physical feelings, but mostly emotional feelings. And if you're an empath now, with everything going on in Ukraine, a lot of empaths are having lots of physical things because it's heavy. It's a heavy, heavy energy. Are you an empath, Lori?
Yes, but not. I worked in the emergency room and an open heart, so I'm not an empath the way a lot of other people are. It's a little
Right,
different for me. So
right. Okay. I just did. I didn't know. So yeah. So that's the way I read.
and you have classes available to help people with their psychic abilities and how to tune in and
Yeah, and so in yeah, well, I do classes with Debbie, Debbie from Freebird Spirit. We do classes to teach people how to get in touch with their intuitive side. But we also have medium classes where you can learn how to do mediumship if you want to. We're just wrapping up kind of our last class, and so we'll be starting new classes probably around the middle of April. So you can always just email me or just go on my comments. It'll be in my comment section of my website when they're ready to go. We're going to probably be doing, I don't want to do too premature. We're probably going to be doing a class for empaths because of everything going on. But so yeah, I'm moving more into a teaching, mentoring kind of position in a way. And July, I'm going to stop doing readings. I'm going to start doing mentoring basically, for people to learn how to do this. We all have this part of us that is connected, and so it's just a matter of figuring out how you're being talked to, how you're being reached.
yep. And I just love when you go into the reading and you're like, have you ever seen that episode of Little House on the Prairie? Or have you ever seen when Marsha did this on Brady Bunch? I'm like, oh, here we go. But I understand completely what's happening there.
I know some
Yeah.
people are like, what are you talking
I know,
about?
because like
How do you
I'll
know
see
one episode of the Brady Bunch?
right. So in the same vein of that, I'll see my grandfather and I know I'm supposed to say, oh, this message is from your grandfather.
Right,
Something
right.
like that. So I
Yeah,
understand that
exactly.
completely.
Yep.
Well, I know everyone's running around crazy in this full moon Virgo energy, but we have a few questions here. Well, let's start with the one that you had about you woke up from a dream. Was that this morning or yesterday?
Yeah, it was this morning. It startled me awake. I was saying to Lori before we came on that I usually don't get. I have clear audience. I can hear, but it's more like when you have the memory of a sound. Like if you think of like what a train sounds like, that's what it feels like. It's more like a memory of a sound the way when it comes in. This sounded like a voice in the room that was speaking right into my ear. It's only happened once before that I can remember. It woke me up out of a dead sleep, and as loud as could be, it was a woman saying Russia. And the only thing I was telling Lori that I wanted her to read on this so badly, because the only thing that I could think of, because it woke me up, is that Russia's going to wake up. There's going to be an awakening in Russia, basically. That's the only thing I could think of. So I wanted to see what Lori had to say about that, because with like the Arnold Schwarzenegger video coming out, and just the news, just the barrage of the awful stuff, that's happening with refugees and all, they're not going to be able to hide this much longer the way they want to. So anyway, that was my thought about it. So I wanted to see what Lori had to say about it.
All right. So I'll take a quick look at that. It does look like they're going to be able to move forward with their thinking a little bit. So that's good.
That's good.
Well, I'm shuffling on this. The other question that I had was, I read with Denise back on Monday, Denise from Spiritual Growth Tarot, and she had a weird feeling in her stomach for Putin, like someone slipped him a Mickey. So while I'm shuffling on if Russia's going to wake up, will you go into that space in your special way to see if the Pootster's going to have a little problem with indigestion?
Yeah. So, and I'm just scribbling. I just so people know what I'm doing. I'm scribbling. So you might hear it. You might hear the pen and the paper. But it's just to get kind of in a meditative place. And I do it sometimes, and I don't do it other times. I'm getting out of it a little bit more, but I still do it. So. So, on my channel, I've talked about how Putin's energy has really changed over the last year. And before, when just at the very beginning of when that convoy started to build up around the border, Ukraine, his energy really changed from kind of methodical, emotionless, whatever, to more erratic, it felt more chaotic. It felt like rushed, like something's happened, like this needs to happen, that kind of feeling. There was a lot of stuff that came along with it, but that was his energy had completely changed, which was really weird. And looking at him now, I get the same thing that I keep getting when I tune into him, which is that, well, and you say for entertainment purposes only, right? That's what I always say when I'm about to say something like kind of controversial. But I always hear in my mind's ear, he's dying. So there's something about him that is fading away, whether it's just him as a leader or him as a person. I also get a lot of okay, so his health is declining. At least this is what I'm getting. His health is declining, but a lot of it is from his own negligence. He's neglecting his health. I feel when I feel him, it feels very anxious and worried. Again, very un-Putin-like. For the longest time, it was exactly the same energy. I would tap into it, it felt like a robot practically. It feels completely different. It does feel like there's something wrong, but I feel like it's really wrong, like something more, either more terminal or just much more serious than like indigestion or something. It doesn't feel like that, but it does feel like it's in that area. It does feel like it's in that area. But they're also saying he's neglecting his health terribly right now.
Which is so weird for him because he's been health conscious. I mean,
That's
and
again,
yeah,
yeah.
and you've read on
Mhm.
him for a long time. I mean, I remember watching you, I don't know, a couple of years ago, reading about him, getting information about him that he's not going to be the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because I feel like the neglect doesn't come from, to me, it feels uh, like exhaustion, that kind of thing, that kind of feeling like he's just trying to do too much and there's not enough now there's not enough time, there's not enough hours in the day, basically. So that's where that is coming from. But yeah, it is weird for him. You're right. Very weird.
So I looked at I looked at if Russia's going to wake up, and there were just many of the citizens that just didn't want to. I mean, they just were only taking in what they were told,
Mhm.
and then I kept going, and I got a yes. Yes, they are waking up, and they will they will start to really
That's the
show
feeling
a
I got. It was
yeah.
like, we're coming to get you.
They're going to start showing some aggression here, and I feel like some will even try to leave, like
Flee.
set up
Yeah.
these, yeah. And the strangest thing, and now I'm getting chills all over my body, is the card that I keep getting with Putin is the Three of Cups, and it is women. It's mothers and women, and it's going to be a woman that is an undoing, is part of the
Right.
undoing with him. And so I don't know if this is just three women that tie him up in his chair.
Right. I know, right? That would be, they all, it's interesting too that people keep getting, poisoning with him, and you know, it's interesting that they are holding chalices. Is that what they're
Yeah,
called? Chalices.
yeah.
Um, because there's things can come in different ways. Sometimes they are completely, they are what they are. It's, but sometimes it can be more of a what is it called? A message within a message. It's not,
Right.
yeah, it's not so as obvious as, so it could be something to do with women taking him down in some way that is like poison, but maybe it's
Yeah.
not, literally poison. It could be
Right.
some kind of, yeah, some kind of
Cups.
story that's going to play out.
Yeah. Cups are emotion, water, but usually when I get that Three of Cups, it's usually literally,
Right.
one female and two of her friends or so.
That's so interesting.
And I've always gotten queens, three queens, which are a little different for Trump. So it's like three individual women, and
Right, right.
this is an actual grouping
Oh,
of
so
three.
yeah, that
So
could be the mothers of these soldiers that are not coming home. It could be, family, the Ukraine, and Russians, that their families, their family are over, and they're actually our families. So it could be mothers that are, seeing their family disappear or not knowing what's going on with them, or they're telling them one thing and Putin's telling them something else. So yeah, interesting.
yeah. All right. So we have another question here that we would really like your insight and help with. In a previous reading I did, I was asked by Puka Rabbit if people here in the United States, the average family, if after this Thanksgiving time, would they feel like they had enough money to buy Christmas presents for their family? So she was trying to ask and judge the economy and the overall feelings. And I got some weird cards that like this Thanksgiving and this Christmas were going to be different, and our focus was going to be different. And I want to know if you can go in and ask your guides for a sign of what will be going on at that time, and I'll take another look as well.
Okay.
So will the average family after Thanksgiving of 2022, the average family in the United States, be able to buy Christmas presents for their family for Christmas? Or what's the focus? What are they focusing on, I guess, is what we want to know. Are they going to be focusing on Christmas and the gathering or something else?
This feels like the January 6th committee energy to me. And it feels like something has happened in the, to me, it feels like something's happened in the election that was unexpected. The thing for me is that it doesn't feel negative. It doesn't feel, for me, it doesn't feel negative. So I think it will be seen as a negative for some people. There's something about January 6th. This is January 6th something. It also is interesting though, because it also feels like the country is coming to terms with something. It does feel like it almost is like we're having our own kind of awakening, and to different things. You're right. It's a combination, I think, of distractions, something going on with the government and with January 6th committee, stuff coming out and us kind of coming to terms with some things. But there's also a different kind of appreciation for our families and for being able to gather together. That's different also. So it's almost like simultaneously two things are happening. So presents are like back here. There's like, it's not really, like you said, it's not focused on that this year. It's kind of like these two, one is more dramatic and more like governmenty, and the other one is more a different kind of gratitude that we've been witnessing stuff, that is so difficult this year. And I think we'll be kind of remembering that a lot of people are gone. It reminds me a little bit of the COVID Christmas when we were having COVID over Christmas. And it was kind of like our focus was just a little bit more aware of the people in our lives who we couldn't gather with, who we couldn't be with. And it's that same kind of like appreciative kind of energy kind of thing, if that makes sense, kind of just appreciation of what I do have. It doesn't feel like people won't be able to buy presents. It just feels kind of like you said, it's like the focus is just it's just different. I don't necessarily feel like it's negative or something's happening, we're freaking out. That's why it doesn't feel like that. It feels like we're going through something and processing stuff. And it, because of that, this other stuff that's normally very, very important, especially in the United States, that, the material good, what keeps our engine running here, buying stuff, it is kind of pushed aside. Doesn't have the importance it once did.
I'm going to have to continue to keep going down that line of questioning on what the primary focus is at that time. But I'm getting also something about I'm getting a pause, getting some sort of a pause, reflection on I think on how many were lost during this time frame, and that we've all been through a lot, and then this Putin factor, and then the January 6th committee, or the elections, and maybe even as far back to 2016, and who was in bed with who, and who took the Russian money. I mean, could it all start spilling over then? And then
right.
And so maybe that's what the problem.
When you put that first card up, I got the feeling there might actually be an actual death of somebody. I thought there might be an actual death. That could be part of this. It's interesting because I asked my daughter, sometimes I'll ask my daughter questions. She's a really good channel. She's very intuitive. And I asked her to ask her guides what they think, how we should pray for Putin, basically. Should we pray for him to stop doing what he's doing, to get enlightened? How should we pray for him? And she said that her guide said to put him in that Four of Swords box, to imagine him in there, because it's almost like, stop, be still in here and be still in here, stop. And when you brought up that card, I did think about that. I thought, I wonder, and you said to pause, and so I'm thinking, I wonder if it is either he's done, something happens where he's he leaves or flees or goes or whatever, or he's arrested or something, or he actually dies, because then you got that other Putin card, that the women again. I hate to say that, because I don't want to, you hate to read an actual death in the cards or read an actual death that comes, but it does almost make me feel like that when I saw that line of cards, it was like, that is like all Putin all over the place. And us kind of like I said, with the January 6th committee, this kind of stuff coming out and where the connections are. And, oh my gosh, this was in our government, and they infiltrated basically our government for 4 years. It's all going to make sense, start to come together and make sense to people. Yeah.
And who got paid?
Yeah.
Because the money trail is definitely going to be there. Can we take
and the
one
phone
more
trail
look?
and other kinds of trails too? It's going to be the phone records and the, whatever other, surveillance, and we'll have all of it, so yeah, it'd be interesting.
Can we see if this situation between Ukraine and Russia and all of us, will it be over by New Year's of this year? Can we see if you get anything on that? Let me see if I can get anything.
What I'm hearing is it won't be over, but it will be quiet. So it won't be the energy we're having right now, where it's just like every day a barrage of just negative, sad, bad. It feels like it gets quiet in some way. It's not quite the same. I feel like there are things we'll be grappling with and dealing with, but it doesn't feel like it feels completely different to me than now. I'm getting dizzy for some reason. I'm not sure why. I get sometimes when I tap in, like really, like something really like hits me hard, or the energy comes in really, it will make me a little dizzy. So I always just take note of that. And
well, it may be that we've been through a dizzying time, which I'm thinking.
Yeah, it could literally be telling me this has been a dizzying. It will, or it has been. It will be. It feels quieter. It just doesn't feel quite as violent and mean. It does, but it does feel like still a time of like like you said, kind of like our attention is focused still. It's just the energy is different. I don't think it will be completely over, though. I just think it will. They're just saying it will be more quiet. So we may be just more dealing with the refugees and dealing with that kind of like the aftermath kind of thing, because it does feel like it's not, like I said, it doesn't feel like it's completely over, though, but it feels like it's quieter. So maybe there is something like that where Putin's out of the picture, so we're still grappling with everything, but it's not quite as alarming and doesn't feel as like we're in danger, that kind of the feeling that we've had, about this weirdo and, leading this giant country. He's so, such a menacing figure. With him gone, I think it would make us feel a lot easier about everything.
I think that we are expecting help from somebody that's not on our side. I'm not quite sure what that is all about. I think we get upset about somebody saying they'll be on our side or with NATO or for Ukraine, and then I think they do something different. I think there's a bully in our midst that turns. But then I think we get through this a little better. There's definitely a problem that there's some sort of loss with children. I don't know if this is just where we're putting all the children refugees that are kids, or if there's some big episode where children are a target. I got that too right before the first shelling hit that kindergarten in the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the same thing here with the Page of Cups, and I got the Page when I asked about Russia before too. So, and then the 5. So that's not really great, but I think by the end of the year we'll be thinking about making this new beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't feel that we've hit the low point yet, in this. I feel like it's kind of on the, we're kind of in this trajectory where it's just like kind of difficult news, and I feel like that is going to continue for a bit. I feel like you might be spot on, either about we're worried about the children, the refugees, and what's happening with the children, or there could be another episode with an actual, like there was with the kindergarten or the shelters or whatever. They seem to be doing that a lot, so that wouldn't be. We at this point, unfortunately, we probably wouldn't be surprised because that's what they're doing. But as far as the friend or the enemy, kind of, obviously China kind of comes to mind, but in a way it almost feels like it's not China. So it may be something with like with the German, with the energy and stuff, because when you said NATO, I thought it could be a NATO country. So, and I know Germany is having a really hard time kind of pulling away from Russia. So we may be disappointed in what they do or decide to do. And I know that, when Zelensky talked to Germany, he was hardest on them. We're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Especially Germany is like, you've been through something like what we're going through. What is going on here? So it might be them. I'm thinking it might be Germany if it's not China.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would really make sense. Yeah. Okay, so another big question that I got, and I know you've touched on this too with ETs. I definitely got the Pleiadians and the star cluster that makes up the Taurus constellation, since we're going into the time of Taurus very soon, are looking at what's going on. And I had some people ask, well, they're looking, but will they actually intervene to help Ukraine, or will they take action?
Okay. And if when you watch my channel, okay, so I've talked about ETs before, but I don't usually, just because it's not that I do think they're there, and it's not really something like I'm focused in for some reason. And I have been told, and now I do know, because I did a reading with somebody else, but anyway, but it's not what I'm meant to be focused on here. So my attention tends to go over here. But when I read on them, I always get stuff. So I'm gonna read on it. But yeah.
I understand completely what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay, so let me see the ETs. I don't know what I'm seeing right now. I feel like they're doing something over Russia right now. They're doing something over Russia right now. It's some kind of It has something to do with energy. I feel like this is the weirdest thing. I feel like they're changing the energy somehow around Russia or over Russia. They're over Russia right now. And I don't think it's in a way like they can see them, like they're hovering, but they're saying like they're over Russia right now. So I feel like they have some kind of, I don't know. The only thing I can, it feels like is like they're changing the energy around Russia. I don't know how. I don't know what that would entail. I have no further information, but that's what I can see it and hear it and feel it. And that's what it feels like. So they're already at work is what I want to let people know. It feels like we're already doing something. We're already at work. We're already working on this. So, and if they're saying it's not intervening because it's not focusing on individuals. It's focusing on the energy. I guess that is not really considered to be something that is, although it has an effect, it's not like intervening on a person's will. And so they're seeing that differently. They're saying it's different what we're doing. This is not like intervening, like putting our will onto someone else or to some or a situation. It's different. And they've done this. They're saying they've done this before. They pushed it. They push energy, or they've moved energy. There's this is crazy, Lori. So it's just that it's just flowing. I don't know why it's flowing, but it just is. So there's because they're showing me like those hurricanes where we thought, oh, it's going from 5, now it's only a 1. They're saying like we've done this before, because it's almost like it was seen as okay because it wasn't really going to it was helping, but it wasn't personally getting involved in someone's personal decision making, but it was helping. They've done this before. So they're showing me a hurricane. They're showing like weather things, but not. It doesn't feel like just wiping out a hurricane. It feels like they can mess a little bit with the how kind of where how kind of like that kind of thing. But it's that kind of thing they're saying is limited. It's limited, but the other stuff, what they're doing over Russia is like we've done this before. So I don't know exactly what. Marie's like, keep going. It's okay, Kim. It's weird for me because like I said, I don't ever tap into this stuff. So, but when I do, I always get something. It feels like, but this has been the weirdest, like steadiest stream I've ever gotten.
Awesome.
But they're saying they're already involved and they're doing something over Russia right now. So yes, I guess is the answer, is they will get involved if they have to, but they really, really don't get involved in like personal will of people or the personal and I would say an event, but I think they actually have. But I feel like as long as it doesn't change, there's a way around it to make sure that we kind of stay on course. Because they won't do something that would change everything all around. It's just if we can change this one thing and then kind of maneuver and go this way, and then still learn these lessons and still go down this path. That's kind of more what they do. It feels like more like scaffolding. We learn like when we were teachers, when you learn about scaffolding, where you're not intervening, you're not going right in and saying, this is what you do, this is how you do it. You're kind of pushing a little bit and just kind of like, no, just like slightly this way. That feels like what they're doing. Yeah.
Like a nudge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that their energy is already there. They've already arrived. They got there when they were supposed. They traveled.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's a protective.
Very much so.
It is protective. However, crossing that was this, the baton of force. So they won't actually take an action to annihilate something, or like you said, more of a nudging or more protective. Thank you, Miss Prairie.
Yeah, thank you, Prairie.
And I also got something very special about the children. So I think they're really trying to communicate with the children, to their,
Oh.
to our inner child, to the kids um, through sprites and nature's energy, that they're trying
Uh-huh.
to appeal to them. And I also got that they're trying to connect with children and people who are in love with each other, and lovers are just falling in love, or just
Mm-hmm.
really in love, because their energy and their vibration is so high that they can help, whip up the cosmos here too. That's what I'm getting.
Right,
That's what I'm
right.
getting. You got more power than what you know. So they're choosing to work with some that are already working with the loving energy. That's what I'm
That's
getting.
some crazy stuff.
Yep. And I
Thank
think
you. I
we'll
would like
hear,
that.
I think some kids will talk about it. I think
Yeah,
that we will get reports in the news, or a reporter will say, well, tell me what the angel, or tell me what the
yeah.
person said to you. Thank you, Miss Lynn. Um, yeah, so that's bizarre. But yes, so it's a lot of love, a lot of help, a lot of caring, a lot of cups, a lot of, that's the dove, the way for the communion, the whole,
Mm-hmm.
all the blessings, the whole big deal. So I like that answer.
Yeah,
They're doing
yeah.
everything they possibly can. And I missed a super chat. Thank you. I missed someone in between.
Lorraine. I think it
Oh,
was
thank you,
Lorraine.
Lorraine. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine. And the other feeling that I get from them, which it is very comforting, is kind of like, it's all under control, people. It's like it's under control. So I do feel like they know exactly what they're doing. They've done this before, and they're starting to do what they do, and we're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But they've started. So
Yes,
thank you,
they have.
Deborah.
Thank you, Miss Deborah. And we will hear about it. That page of wands is something audible that, someone will report and say, well, tell me what you saw. And they'll say, so we'll
Right.
get accounting for their visits. And then I just got goosebumps again.
Or just I think you're right. Probably visits, but I also think just unusual phenomenon. Like, you know what I mean? Like kids having almost maybe psychic experience, or maybe like wisdom beyond their years kind of things, where they're being directly, like you said, kind of communicated with, impacted by whatever this is, this force coming in to kind of help us, and are able to reach through the children somehow, or help through the children somehow.
Yeah, like comforting them and calming them and communicating with them in a way that they can't with our rational minds, when we go
Right.
into that left brain and we're like, oh, that's a coincidence or something. Whereas a child will say, really? Okay, sure.
Right.
Yes, so
Exactly.
we can look to them. I thought it was so great about the lovers too. It's like the people that are really feeling the love groove, they're
Uh-huh.
really and people, especially now with the astrology as wacko as it's going to be coming up, and already is in this full moon, that anyone that's focusing on raising their vibration, even if you're just watching The Last Kingdom on Netflix or something on your couch tonight, but you send out a minute of prayer, like even just 1 minute, you're sending out waves into the divine matrix that you can't possibly comprehend how it helps. But if everybody sends it, especially the light workers that are watching you, or myself, or so many of the other readers in our beloved readers in our community, we don't realize how powerful we are.
Yeah, it's so interesting you say that, Lori, because I was just thinking that, every time I was talking to one other person, that it was just a reading, and we were just kind of came into this subject about Russia, and she is a healer, and she was saying that she always kind of uses her hands and like to push them away. And my mantra for Russia was always to drop their weapons and walk away. That's what I like, almost like willing them to do. Or when I go into like a meditation or something, that's what I'm asking for them to do. Drop your weapons and walk away. And it's so interesting because like maybe a week or two later, I heard that people in those tanks that were along the thing, it was not too long ago, maybe a week ago, that they were literally just like leaving the tanks and walking into the woods. And I thought that was so interesting. And you're right. It made me think we don't know how powerful we are, especially as a group, and it doesn't matter if I'm doing it in the morning or you're doing it at night. It doesn't have to be at the same exact time. It's that constant onslaught of energy going this way and saying this same message of Russia, you need to go, and Ukraine is protected, or Ukraine is peaceful, putting that energy out there. It makes a difference. It really, really does.
Thank you, Tish. Thank you, Constance.
Thank you, Constance.
I think that's so important that you said not everyone needs to do it at the same time, because it's a continual wave of energy. Right. So it's great if three people want to do it at the same time, that's great. But as long as everyone is doing it, it just continues to send that. And then that Russian soldier will feel the same thing. Like when someone is standing, you think you're in a forest alone and someone's standing in the vicinity because someone's standing in there. You can sense it. So they will sense that. So it's important to continue to send, send a couple of times each day, even if it's just for a minute, or you're sending out, in gratitude or grateful for every time someone that has opposing beliefs. Thank you, Jude, is focused on doing the right thing regardless of what their beliefs are, for their strength. And so that leads me into, what your message is. I know you're always giving everyone loving messages, but with this astrology that's so crazy. Thanks, Miss Susie.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Jude.
With this astrology it's challenging. It's really challenging. I don't know if you've listened to any of your favorite astrologers recently.
And again, Lori, I don't really like it's not, and it's not astrology itself. It's that there is very complex. It's a science. I mean, it really is. You have to really be committed to be in astrology. There is a lot to it. And so I will sometimes hear little snippets from, about astrology, but I almost feel like I can't follow it. Like it's very complicated to me. I can hear like outcomes, but when they start to like explain like the chart and stuff, I'm like, what? It does not compute for me at all. I don't understand it. I know. But there's a lot to it.
Yeah. Thanks, Azalea. I remember the first time I saw someone talking about, and we were, that's just back when we did it, because I'm 5,000 years young. When we would talk about charts and you would do everything by hand, I remember thinking it looked like someone just took a spirograph and went, like, what is that? How can you? That's just not your tool, and it's not my tool. I'm a novice. I do like
exactly. I like to hear the predictions and things because they're extremely accurate and they're always so fascinating. But when they go into like how they get to this point, I'm like, I would never understand this in a million years. So good for you guys. Okay. Glad someone's doing it. Right. I don't have the brain for that.
So in the gift that, in the vein that you have, in the gift that you have, what would be your most, I know we just shared a really big deal for everybody to send out these waves of love at any time from your couch or outside, anywhere you want to send it. But what's your biggest information from your guides and angels for them to hold on to during the tumultuous, few months to come, or even in these tumultuous next couple of weeks, especially?
Right. So there's been, so as I'm asking now, and it is similar to what I've been getting, but it is to kind of get used to finding that kind of, we all have this part of ourselves. This I think of it. I always think of like a little candle, like a little candle shining in each of us. That little part of us that's always connected to source that we can call on, go into at any time, and it's like a bat signal. You know, we can get into that, and we're connected. And I think that's one thing that I've gotten a constant message in, and particularly over the next couple of weeks, to find that space inside yourself, that place where you feel centered, calm, grounded. It's in each of us. So if you're like, I can't find it, it's like, no, just take a second, take a couple deep breaths, and just try to me, it's always centered around here. It's always at a heart space or whatever, you know, with that area. But find that peaceful place and just kind of sit and feel that. Just feel that peace. I think sometimes we get barraged with the news and then Twitter and then this and that. Turn it all off. Get centered where you are. I'm in my room. Nothing's happening. I'm just in my house. All this chaos is in my mind because I just watched the news. It's not happening right now. And find that place of peace. So that's one thing that you can do. And that connects us all, right? Even to people in Russia, even to people in Ukraine. When you find that that's that part of ourselves that is connected to source and connects us all. So that when you find that and you're in that, you're connecting. So that is important. And also to step into gratitude as well. I think this, there's a video that I did, and I think it's called, it's either called Look at the Blue Sky or Appreciate the Blue Sky. But there was an interview with a young girl that they asked her, her friends had been killed. She was in a shelter. Her place had been bombed. It was like her apartment. She was a young girl, probably about 23 years old. They said, what do you want to tell people? And she said, just look up in the sky and appreciate that. I would get teary when I say, look up at the sky and just appreciate the blue sky. And I think what she meant was that just appreciate the fact you're not at war and that you don't have bombs falling on you, that you just have a clear blue sky. So every single day, she said that, I have gone out, I go out in my backyard. It may be 1 minute some days, it may be a half an hour other days, but I just sit and I just look around me and think of all of the things that I'm so grateful for right now. Because if things were to change, or at least you appreciated things when you had them, you know, so it's never a bad thing to step into gratitude in the moment. It also does make you very present and very aware of just what's around you. And I'll start with literally like things that are around me. I'm thankful for that tree. I'm thankful for my puppy dog I'm holding, which he's doing fine. Everyone was asking before if how he's doing. He's doing good. I'm thankful for the blue sky. I'm thankful for, you know, or the rain or whatever is happening. I'm thankful for those flowers that I always look at. It remind me of my dad. I'm glad, you know, I start with the things right around me that kind of like centers me and makes me kind of present. And then I move out from there. And I'm thankful for, you know, a country that is still free and has the freedom to vote. And we may be on that kind of edge, you know, but we still have it. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful Trump is gone. I'm thankful, you know, I go through whatever I am really thankful for right now. And I think anytime you step into gratitude, it never does you wrong. It never does you wrong.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a big proponent for gratitude. I think it's the highest form of prayer there is, to be truly grateful.
You're right.
I always go straight for, I start with, you know, I'm so grateful that I can walk over to the tap and just turn on clean water.
Yeah.
I always start there. But it does, it does make you present, and then it's impossible to be sad.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It shifts your consciousness. That's right. It shifts you out of that right away. Everyone's like agreeing with like, yeah, it is a form of prayer. It's a form of meditation. It's a shift in consciousness that happens when you move into gratitude. And I always love, Eckhart Tolle always says that when you're grateful for something, your heart opens and you make room for more comes in, you know, that more of whatever you're appreciative of, more of that comes in. And so I think when you're grateful for things like nature and, you know, if I'm grateful for the rain, especially in California, we're always grateful for the rain. It makes room for more to come in when you are grateful for what you have.
That's awesome. I wanted to say thank you to Sad Bakshish and for the donation. And I just love that. And I'm always, I always try to help people understand from for what I've learned, is that that divine matrix, what you send out comes back. So if you give out gratitude, you get more things to be grateful for, like you said with Eckhart Tolle.
Yep.
I think the message that I'm getting is to the first card is the strength card, and that's to just make sure that you're focusing on saying positive things and to quell the lion inside of you that wants to roar, oh danger, danger. And then the other big thing is we're not separate. We are not separate. So they can feel when we're praying for them. They can feel when we're sending them light and love. They can feel our empathy. And those were the biggest cards that I got.
And I think that it's so important, because when you watch the news and you have that experience of seeing things that are horrific and beyond explanation, it's just awful. It can make you feel very separate and very alone, because you're like, I don't understand that kind of violence at all. I don't understand what is going on. It can make you feel very separate, very alone, and I think that it is so important, but it's also, it does build that strength within you. I think the strength card, it does build that strength in you to know that we are all connected. All you'd have to look at is COVID to see how connected we are, how quickly that affected everybody in the world. So it's like, and we're even, our consciousness, our inner spirit, our spirit part of us that's connected to all, that's even 10 times more connected than that. So it's so immediate. It's so quick when you just remember that, yes, we're all connected. And so when I have a positive thought and I do something kind, or I do something, it does have that ripple effect. We can't see it with our eyes, but it does have that energetic ripple effect all the way through. So yeah, you're absolutely, I think your cards are spot on, Lori.
I think that's a wonderful message. And the only other thing that I'm seeing here is that, and this was actually card of the day. And thank you, Miss Marie. This is the card of the day that, our shifting emotions, the pull of the tide with the full moon. If you watch too much of that and you go into the fear, you can hold that in your solar plexus and you might not even be breathing right. So try to let that go. Realize that what you're watching on TV has already happened.
Right.
Like it's already done. So we need to focus on the future and the collective, like you said, and for everyone to be together. So just keep sending. And the only other thing I wanted to add is when you're doing a gratitude list, it's so great to say it out loud. But if you write it, you're not only using your right brain of saying it out loud and being cognizant of it, but it's your left rational brain too, because you're writing it down. So it helps to write it if you can.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people keep like gratitude journals, and those were really popular in the 90s. But I think that you're right. I think there's something in writing it down that makes it is kind of making it, also pulling it out of here and making it physical. So it's almost like it's planted here on the earth when you write it. There's something physical that's actually like stamped on the earth here now, and that's very powerful. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. I have one more quick question, and it is in regards to COVID. My friend Patricia wrote, she said, there's another wave of COVID that's going on in the UK. Do you think how bad do you think it's going to get? Are we going to have to put masks on? Are we going to have to put masks back on? And right now, Satan is down here, of course, in the state of Florida, saying that, we need to get rid of all the masks for the spring travelers, of course. So what's your take on COVID and this next wave? And then also she wanted to know, is it going to start spreading to animals more proficiently?
Okay.
So I think former President Barack Obama got it. Vice President Kamala Harris's husband got it. Thank you, Miss
Mm-hmm.
Tisha. The Irish official that came to speak to Biden had to
Right.
go video because he had it. It's like, what's going on?
Well, I feel like there's another another shot coming, like get another shot. It's like get or a booster or whatever. I feel like there's another something like that coming, but there's also, it does feel like almost like what we just went through with Omicron, where it's kind of like more, it spreads, but it's lighter. It's every time every time I see a variant, it's like it's easier spread, but it's lighter. It just keeps getting lighter and lighter. And I don't know if it's because we're all, so many people are vaccinated now, or they've had it. So it's like we're reaching that kind of herd immunity thing. So it's just not affecting people as much, or if the actual, variant is just lighter. But I always get that it's lighter, but kind of like it can easily spread. So if you get it, it might not be, it just won't be a big deal. It would just be getting a cold or getting, but the bad thing is that you can spread it. And if people haven't been vaccinated or they can't get vaccinated and they refuse to wear a mask or refuse to do anything, they're going to be, again, the ones who suffer because of this. It's not going to be the vaccinated. It's not going to be people that are following what they need to do to keep themselves safe. It's not going to be those people. So if you're in that, willing to kind of do what you need to kind of, move through these different little variants that come along, it will just pass right by you. Or if you get it, it'll be very light and then kind of a nothing. But you do kind of have to be willing to listen and do. When you get guidance, it comes from different places. It doesn't just come from one place. So if someone's saying, this is what's happening and this is what we can do to help ourselves, just do it. Listen, they're letting us know, so just be safe.
Yeah, they are. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Patricia. I am getting that it's spreading. It's here. It's spreading. It's going all the way around, and then we pass it to each other.
And back
here,
again.
have some more, and here have some more, and here have some more.
Right.
But I think we're standing. I'm not getting the tower. I am getting that it does, go to the animals, but I don't think I'm not getting the tower anywhere here, and that's really my big COVID disruption card. So hopefully there is going to be some new strand of something being born of this. But I mean, I can ask later. We can all look into it later. But right now, I'm not getting that tower total disruption chaos thing. Have you seen anything?
I forgot. I was going to say with the animals. I forgot that you'd asked about the animals. The only thing I'm feeling is like it's almost like there will be like something that is with animals, but it feels like it's not a serious thing for the animals. But I feel like it's almost like it comes from COVID, but we don't call it that. So I almost feel like it will be in animals in a form, but we won't call it that. It'll be something different. And I don't even know if we'll realize that's what it is, but it doesn't feel like it's serious. It feels like, oh, like if your dog had a cold or if your dog had, something or like a little virus, a little strain of a virus where it just kind of worked through them and then it was done. It doesn't feel like it's nearly like what we've been through or what we've gone through, but it does feel connected. But for some reason, they keep saying we call it something else. So whether it's here already, I don't know, or like something's happening with animals already that we don't call it COVID, but that is where it comes from. I don't know. Not really. If I had like another, like few minutes and I could go and meditate about it and so I could probably give you a more clear thing, but that's what I'm feeling is like, kind of like, yeah, there is something, or there's going to be something for animals. It's very slight. It doesn't feel serious. And it's born of COVID, but we don't call it that for some reason. Maybe we don't know it is. That's what it is. Am I making sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, they'll just give it another name as it starts to morph.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess they just really want to hear, are we going to be? Is this the end of the big bad COVID surges? Is this, what do you get when you zoom into that? And we can go out on that. That will be a good.
I definitely feel like we have been through the worst of it. It feels like that. I don't want to tempt anything by, but I do feel like we've kind of been through that first round that we had without vaccines and all of that. That was the big a wake up call, the big everything. That was it. And I felt since then it's just been kind of just tapering off and tapering off and tapering off. And there, that big, thing that went around the world, it was a learning opportunity. It was a wake up opportunity and stuff. And people either took that or they didn't, a lot of people left their jobs, decided I am working from home forever now. I'm not ever going to not work from home. I mean, a lot of people woke up to a lot of different kinds of things during that time. And either you learned something from it or you didn't, but it was an opportunity. It was definitely an opportunity to step back, look at your life differently, look at your surroundings differently. We all got it big time, appreciate your families more, appreciate touch, right? Appreciate a hug more. I mean, that was like a huge thing in that first round was you couldn't even touch people. You couldn't say goodbye to people. It was a huge learning opportunity. And so that I feel like won't come around in that form again. We've done that. And either you got something from it or you didn't. And if you didn't, it may come in a different way for you. It may come in a different form. But if you got it, you got it. You got it. We all had the opportunity to learn.
Yeah. I mean, being a healer, even just with the computer age, our sense of human touch was already lacking before COVID.
Right.
I mean, we were already not having enough FaceTime with each other in human form, or touching. It was already on the downslope, and then that just took it a little bit further. So
right.
We did learn. It was a real big wake up call. I just did a quick spread here. It also made us realize how very vulnerable we are. So they're really working. I hope they don't wait too long. They may pause for a little bit, but they've got to get to work to make sure that we're ready for something else that could come down the pike that we're not expecting. They've got to they got to work on it. I don't know how much money they spent, but they've got to get on it. I think they will, but I don't think they should wait. I think this is a big warning, big wake up call. They need to get those funds replenished and get the science going better, faster, quicker.
I think you're right about that. I mean, like I said, this was an opportunity to learn on a lot of different levels, whether it was a personal inner level, to go inside more, to see what's really going on, to stop your life and look around and see if you're happy where your life is going. And then on these bigger levels, these government levels, and what we need to help each other and to help our country and to help around the world. And it was an opportunity on many levels to learn and to get prepared. You're right. Get prepared for the next time or the next one.
All right. Well, happy full moon in Virgo, everybody. Clean your workspace, put your crystals out to charge, say your gratitude lists. And Kim, thank you so much for coming on my channel and sharing your wisdom and your mediumship with us to give us some messages of hope and something to look forward to and to know how important we are. And we're all very grateful for you.
Well, thank you, Lori. Thank you for what you do, and thank you, everybody. I'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay, for writing out the questions, and thank you for all the super chats, you guys. Oh, one other quick thing. Somebody mentioned that the World Kitchen is 7 subs short of something. Please remember that the World Kitchen cannot do their own fundraising event because they don't have 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. We did I was grateful to be a part of a big fundraiser with Jen Lynn Theroux. I think it's still up on her channel if you want to donate to that. I know that there was almost $7,000 there. But don't forget to please like and subscribe to World Kitchen's YouTube channel.
YouTube. All right.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a happy weekend.
Thank you. Happy weekend,
everybody. Send out your waves of prayers from your house.
That's right. Bye, guys.